Hello and welcome to Load Bearing Beams, the movie podcast. It's the only one. I'm Matt Stokes.
I haven't found any others. I'm Lacey Roth. I'm married to you.
I'm married to you in a good time that we've had these past 12 years being married. And these past however many years it's been since we started doing this podcast where one of us picks a movie, makes the two of us watch it and talk about it.
Here we are.
Covering Superman 1978. Why'd you pick this movie, Lacey?
Why are you making me watch this movie, Matt?
Lacey did not pick this movie. I picked it. Gene Hackman, the last Gene Hackman movie we're going to be covering.
April Fools.
What?
You were doing an April Fool's joke. I was just being really timely with shouting it.
Oh, okay. The last Gene Hackman movie we will be visiting, which I'm sad to say we will both miss him as a presence in our life. Oh, Superman, I don't know. And I love this performance from Gene Hackman. And my history with the movie is this. I did not grow up with it. I watched it as a teenager. It was a blind buy at Barnes & Noble, the DVD, the snapper case. I bought it. I watched it. I thought it was really good. And I also was like proud of myself for being like, this movie's a little dated, but I can see how exciting it must have been in 1978.
Wow.
And
what a fair guy.
I've watched it many times since, like it more each time I watch it now in my old age. I think that Christopher Reeve is exceptional. Gene Hackman is great as always. But I knew that the thing about this movie is
it's bad.
There's kind of a split, and it's like you get 45 minutes of preamble and then it settles into what it actually is. And full disclosure, we often record our history segments on different days from when we record the main part of the episode. That is the case here, but Lacey has not made it all the way through the movie. In fact, has not even made it to Christopher Reeve yet.
I'll bet he's not even in it. I'm sick of you burying the Reeve. Anyway, that's not fair. You told me I could do it this way because I was having a bad day yesterday.
I know. But as I was preparing my history, I'm like, I'm afraid that I will now have built up Christopher Reeve because I think this is kind of a lightning in a bottle performance. He's not the only thing that makes the movie special, but he is the most special thing about the movie. And so when you finally see him, you'll be like, that's it.
Well, he's got a low bar to pass.
Okay.
Ever since, as soon as the kid gets to Earth, I start enjoying the movie. I really did struggle with the in space parts.
I knew you would.
But it's just hard to look at. I mean, it gave me a migraine. The coloring is crazy. I know that's the point. I don't like it.
Well, it's weirdly like washed out.
Well, the clothes are the most important thing. The glowing. I know they're going for neon. I know they're going for otherworldly. They only have so many tricks they can use. I get it. It's just, if I'm the actor, I'm mad that this is the only time I'm on the screen. You can't fucking see them.
Marlon Brando was very happy to get in and out of this movie with a cool $4 million in his pocket, plus 12% of the box office gross for this movie. I think it was the most any actor was ever paid, and he's on screen for so little before he dies, like 11 minutes in. And he makes a couple of appearances throughout the movie. Oh, my son, you're my son, and here's
all
some
of
lessons.
My knowledge. I am what makes you super. Here's a crystal. Stick it in your coffin.
Now, I like all of this stuff with Marlon Brando at the beginning, and I like the production design, and I find it charming, and I like that the movie's taking its time, but I knew you would struggle with it, and I could just feel your energy.
The credits, though, the fucking credits. It's no. I know that you've got a cool little effect that you've found how to do. You're trying to keep up with Star Wars. It's just someone's nephew, right? He's like, look what I can do with the thingy.
Oh, look what he can do.
Look what I do with the thingy. But that's every single fucking name and comma in this crazy fun. And I'm just, my eyes.
Commas get their own title card
just
in this
credit
comma.
Sequence. Yeah.
And yes, just name after name after name. And then we're finally done with the single card actors. Everybody got so much attention in this movie, and it's it's the most audacious credits opening. Here
is some fun.
Creative
it is very
consultant.
Long. It's so long. It all looks like crystals when you think about it. That's why it looks like this. Because of the planet.
To be clear, you'd never seen this movie?
No.
Nope, nothing close.
Missed it.
Did
nothing
you know
close.
anything about it?
I knew Christopher Reeves was Superman. That's why it was this whole thing whenever he got injured. That, like, can you believe he played this man and now is this man? It was that is why I know it was Christopher Reeves, and that's why I know there's a movie called Superman. And that is probably the most fucking millennial answer I could have given you.
Well,
is that news at the time?
Just to stay ahead of the vultures, it is of course Reeve, not Reeves.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry.
You ever hear the Good Charlotte song "Superman Can't Walk"? I believe it was from their EP before they signed to a major label, but it tells you everything you need to know. Yeah, I've heard the talk. Superman can't walk.
Jesus.
Who's going to save you when your Superman can't walk?
They made it rhyme and then they made it not rhyme. Interesting.
Superhero movies in general. Catch people up. How do you feel about them?
Oh, I like them. I mean, I like good ones. Ha ha, hot take. Superhero movies from this time, I have not any experience with them.
This is the only one.
Well, that explains it then. I mean, I would have started watching them whenever, Batman in the 80s. So I loved the original Batman. And then I liked I went into the theater to see all of the Batman movies until it got to like this isn't your daddy's Batman. It got all dark and stuff. And then, Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor and all our guys, all of our Avenger guys. So that counts, right?
One of the interesting things about it is to see it and see that it's just a 70s movie and it's a 70s sci-fi and fantasy movie with a superhero in it. Mm-hmm. And similarly, Tim Burton's Batman was just a Tim Burton film noir, but Batman is in it. And by doing that, you kind of invent the language of superhero movies and what you expect in them. But to the people making them, they weren't thinking of it in terms of we're making a superhero movie.
So they made a formula on accident.
We just made a movie. And Superman's in it. And here you go. We made it for you.
How else would you treat it? He's just a guy on a planet.
But I was interested to see quotes from Richard Donner, the director of this movie, who was a comic book fan, kind of talking like the directors talk now when they're like, when I was hired to make the Madam Web movie, I remember talking with my mom on her lap about how much she loved Madam Web. And I read every single Madam Web comic and I ingested the entire encyclopedia of Madam. Yeah, you have to be so reverential and respectful. I was surprised to see that even back then he read the original script for the movie and he said, this is totally disrespectful to the comics.
See, and I appreciate that because that is what makes this like an exclusive club, which makes it very intimidating for me. I'm not a person who likes comics, and part of that is like I don't see where the entry point is. I'd have to start with something that's relatively new. The idea of getting into something old is very intimidating. There's so many spinoffs, you need to have a working encyclopedia type brain, and I don't, and I shan't. But if you're going to take it and make a movie out of it, I think you should give some sort of respect to all the artists that came before.
And we'll talk about sort of the how the script evolved and how he took away all of the let's kind of make fun of how stupid Superman is and let's just treat it kind of seriously.
Yeah, why? He's just trying to be on a planet, man.
Yeah,
he didn't
leave him alone.
He had to go in that space vagina and get all down here. It's a pointy vagina. It looks like something, and I can't figure out what it is. Maybe like a dryer ball.
It looks like
like a bull thistle.
It looks like a bull thistle. Yes, these bull thistles that keep growing on our yard. Get them out of here.
Pissing me off.
These thistles.
I hate them.
If you have a problem with thistles in your yard, write to us. Let us know.
I'm
# thistle. And otherwise, I want to encourage you to check out our social media accounts, Twitter, Load-Bearing Pod, Instagram, Load-Bearing Beams, Blue Sky, Load-Bearing Beams, and TikTok, Load.Bearing.Beams, where you can get an exclusive bonus video. This week, we each named our contrarian film opinions. We won't tell you what they are here. You have to go watch the videos on our social media to hear what controversial, devastating takes Lacey and I both have about movies.
I'm going to blow up the internet.
You really are.
I know it.
Yeah, Lacey took out her butt like Kim Kardashian.
I rested things on it.
Now, Superman, lot here, and I know a lot less about the history of DC Comics than I know about Marvel. I will not do justice. I could not even attempt to do justice to
But will you do Justice League?
I won't even do Justice League.
Dang!
The story of how Superman was created and the long saga of his creation, the long development is fascinating. There's lots of good resources you can go consult. So this is just a capsule-sized history that I shall give here. But, Superman, not literally the first superhero comic, but the one that launched the whole thing.
Okay.
He was developed over a period of years between the artist, Joe Shuster, and the writer, Jerry Siegel. Their intention was to use him in newspaper strips. That's what you did if you were a comic artist. The strips, the funny pages. But they struggled to sell him and eventually got an offer from a comic book publisher for an anthology magazine called Action Comics. So it's like, could our superhero be in a comic book? That's interesting. The first issue of Action Comics was published April 1938, and in it, Superman takes up 13 pages of the issue, and Siegel and Shuster were paid $130 for their work, and as was standard industry practice at the time, had to sign away the lifetime perpetual ownership of Superman, the character, to the company, to National Allied Publications, the predecessor of DC. And in exchange, they got a 10-year contract to write Superman comics for this company. So $130, and they just sign him away forever.
They died though, right? They're fine.
They died. They're fine.
They're no longer in pain.
At least there's that. Yeah. This was the launch of the golden age of comic books, and Superman would appear in Action Comics and also in his own comic book line, Comics. Suddenly the publishing industry is like, hey, we can make a lot of profit off of this.
And since time immemorial, there's been crossover. It's the way of the superhero. You're just like, oh, let me pop in over here now. I'm over here.
Batman's here with Superman, and I can get Superman in Action Comics and also Superman. Better read them both, so I'm on top of everything.
You hear that? Marvel movies of the future? We're all going to be in everybody's shit.
But right here in the golden age of comics, Batman comes, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Captain America, they get created and published in the years following Superman. Shuster and Siegel, they work basically for 10 years making comics for DC about Superman. And then at the end of their contract, they sue to regain the rights to their character. And the court, this may shock you, but the American court system is like, shall we side with the laborers or the powerful corporate interests? And they chose the powerful corporate interests and say, no, sorry, you worms, you signed away.
Just like Superman does. I'm kidding. It's not the right thing to do.
Not only did they, release, they don't hire them back to keep writing Superman comics, they take away from future Superman comics, they take away their name. So it doesn't say Superman created by. And they both go on to live a financially precarious life, struggle to find steady work in and out of the comics industry, and then do other like there's a story of Shuster having to work as a delivery driver and getting humiliated because he has to deliver a package into the DC office. So, hey, look who's delivering our package. It's the guy who made Superman, who created the jobs we all have.
I feel bad about the dead comment now.
But occasionally they'd be hired as a contract employee, not given any creative control, but come in, take some pictures, say, see, here's living legend, Jerry Siegel, working in the DC office.
If there had been Comic-Cons at that time, that's what they would have done.
Yeah, it's the world was just what a good thing. One of the few good things the world has invented is cons over the past however many decades they've been around. Because I was doing my other podcast, The Signpost Up Ahead, my monthly podcast.
Keep talking about it.
About the Twilight Zone, and there's an episode about an aging film star. It's a lot like the movie Sunset Boulevard, and with both of those, I was thinking they just needed for cons to be invented.
Not like you get one over on people, but like conventions.
Yes. For sad like former silent actress.
Hey, they don't have to be sad. They're at a con.
But she is sad.
Oh.
And she's like, no one remembers me. But listen, if there's a convention, you can go to the Pasadena Civic Center.
You get groped, take some pictures.
Thousands of people who will pay just to talk to you for 1 minute.
And they're going to be a little weird, some of them. But endure it.
That's what you pay. That's what the money's for.
Great. Lovely. You get no security. Just take it.
Anyway, they sue again. It fails. Then in the mid-'70s, there's news of a major Hollywood Superman movie getting developed. And so Shuster and Siegel launch a last-ditch Hail Mary publicity campaign.
Whoa.
Listen, everybody. Listen to how poorly they're treating us. And DC is now owned by Warner Brothers. They're producing the movie, and they panic a little bit. So they agree, we will reinstate your names on the comic books, and we'll give you each an annual stipend of $20,000 in exchange for never suing us again.
I mean, that sounds like good money for the time.
Okay, but they have made billions of dollars for this company. And then Siegel died in the 90s, deeply in debt, and Warner's agreed to pay off his debts if his family agreed to never sue them again. So just the change they find in their sofa, they dump it on these people. That's the story of Superman's creation. So then, what about other media? Well, in the 1940s, there's a very popular radio adaptation, Superman, The Adventures of Superman. This is where it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman.
That's interesting because he switches between Clark Kent and Superman. How does he change his name his voice to make that work on the radio?
Oh, that's all in the actor. You gotta give two distinct performances.
But vocal?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Christopher Reeve said he thought originally it's like, well, I need to give two distinct performances. And then he was told, no. You're always Superman. But when you're Clark Kent, Superman himself is playing a role. It's a role within a role. Mm-hmm. That's what's so good about it, as you'll see when we watch the movie. Anyway, Fleischer Animation Studios produces these incredible theatrical animated shorts in the early 40s. These are all on YouTube. You should watch them. They're great. Movie serial in 1948, the 1950s TV series starring George Reeves, and then a bunch of animated shows in the 60s and 70s, most notoriously the Hanna-Barbera Super Friends. So, the idea of a big budget Superman movie probably seems a little misguided or silly. So they start developing a movie when the father-son producing duo Alexander and Ilya Salkind purchase the Superman movie rights in the 1970s and start working on a big budget movie adaptation. They had the idea, this was always the idea, we will produce two movies back to back. So they write one script that will take up two movies. And that is indeed what they did. Superman 2 was produced back to back with Superman 1, but the director, Richard Donner, was fired mid-production on Superman 2, famously. But
is Superman 2 good?
It is good, but it's kind of a mess. You can tell it's a mess. That you can tell like it's kind of Frankenstein together. Mm. They hire Mario Puzo, the author of The Godfather and who also helped write the screenplay for The Godfather, to write the script, and he's paid a giant salary. And Francis Ford Coppola was in negotiations to direct. Other luminaries like William Friedkin, Sam Peckinpah, and Richard Lester.
Peckinpah?
Sam Peckinpah.
That's fun.
He is the most fun director name to say by far. Mm-hmm. Peckinpah. Also, the only director my dad has ever mentioned to me.
Because of the name.
I guess that's it.
It sticks.
Matt, you know that guy, Sam Peckinpah?
Cheryl Ladd and Sam Peckinpah.
Probably the most my dad thing to say, Sam Peckinpah. Anyway, they make offers to both Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and get turned down. Mario Puzo turns in his script, this enormous 500-page script, and they hire Guy Hamilton to direct. Guy Hamilton is the director of 4 James Bond movies, Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun. Guy Hamilton was like, when the James Bond series was in crisis, they bring back Guy. That was kind of his thing.
He's our guy.
Because he directed Goldfinger, which is a phrase Lacey hates when I say it, platonic ideal of a James Bond movie.
Platonic. We're not going to marry it.
And so whenever they have like a one that's not well received, Guy will come in and make things right.
He just gets it.
The first person they cast is Marlon Brando, who, as I said earlier, is paid $4 million and 12% of the box office gross and contractual guarantee that he can film all of his scenes in 12 days.
He's an expensive first hire.
Yeah, yes. But it's like, no, we're showing people we're serious about this movie. Like, This isn't a goofy cartoon. We've got the most famous, respected actor in the world who's also an insane person. Famously difficult to work with in the 1970s, going insane on drugs and just being a weirdo. And, his career gets revived in the early 70s with The Godfather. He wins his second Oscar. But he refuses to learn lines now. He's like, no, I don't memorize lines anymore. I don't do that.
You say them, then I say them.
So he has their cue cards. Basically, wherever you see the camera, wherever the camera's not, there's a cue card.
Like in this movie or just now?
Yeah, in this movie.
Okay.
Like Godfather, he tried real hard. After that, he's like, I don't have to do that anymore.
I mean, because I feel like he's there for such a short period of time, but he says, my friends. He says my friends like 3 different times.
My friends.
Are people really, is that really in the script?
Just what he keeps resetting to.
Yeah.
So the next person they hire, again, we're showing you we're serious. Gene Hackman, also notoriously difficult, but less crazy. So both of these men have won Best Actor Oscars like in the past handful of years.
Maybe their crazy cancels each other out. Like you can't have two in the room. Wait, they didn't.
But
they
not.
They filmed at different times. Yeah. Damn it.
And the production is like worried about losing Gene Hackman. So they're like, let's film everything we can right away.
Okay.
Just don't want him to think this is stupid. And Superman, I don't know. Leave. The script that Mario Puzo turns in is very campy and it's very long and they're having trouble figuring out how to turn it into reality. And then they have troubles like filming locations. They want to go to Italy, but Marlon Brando can't go to Italy because he has an arrest warrant there, stemming from a sexual obscenity charge when he filmed Last Tango in Paris.
Showed his penis?
During the making of a sexy movie.
Oh, you got to show some peen.
They want to go to England. Yes?
It's a Foo Fighters music video.
Okay.
Look it up. Superhero and Foo Fighters music video.
Just do the podcast?
I'm so distracted.
Lacey's trying to figure out a thing that I don't even know what she's trying to figure out. She saw a picture of George Reeves and says, that's the guy from the music video or album cover. And I had to cut out 20 minutes of us Googling for no reason.
Now I'm Googling. I'm Googling.
They want to go to England. They're going to produce the movie in England. But one problem, Guy Hamilton can't go there because he owes a lot of tax money to the crown. He's a tax exile.
No.
The James Bond director can't go to England.
That's ironic.
So they lose Guy Hamilton and they go to Richard Donner. Richard Donner, Dick Donner to his friends. Directed 2 movies before having his commercial breakthrough with The Omen in 1976. An enormous hit, the 5th largest movie of that year. It's funny to think, like, these movies are big, The Exorcist and The Omen, but like imagine a devil movie being the 5th biggest movie of the year right now.
It was so unique. Like, you can put the devil in things?
But it wasn't that unique. They're like, we have The Exorcist and then we had The Omen. It's like, how about...
I'm not paying attention. I'm still thinking.
Devil goes into girl, maybe devil boy this time? Okay.
I got you.
So in 2016, there's this interview with Richard Donner where he tells really great stories about making Superman. And I have a very long quote. So Lacey, feel free to Google while I read this quote.
I'm completely dialed in.
I just love what he said. Quote, I was hot. It was just a high point in my life because I had done a lot of TV and then The Omen. I was getting a lot of calls and I had no idea where I was going. But then I got a call from Alexander Salkin. Alexander Salkin is the producer of the movie, and who tells him, quote, I'm making Superman. I don't have a director and I'll pay you $1 million. End quote. Richard Donner is like, holy shit, $1 million. I never thought this would happen to me, but here I have arrived. Quote, there was a delivery guy at my door within an hour with this script that was so thick and big you'd get a hernia from lifting it.
Oh, I thought he was delivering the $1 million.
And there were other things with the package, and one of them was the Superman costume. So I sat down and read the script, and it took forever. It was the longest thing I had ever read. It was indulgent and heavy and had no point of view and treated the comic books with disrespect. It was disparaging. It was just gratuitous action. I'm reading this thing, and Superman's looking for Lex Luthor in Metropolis, and he's looking for every bald head in the city. And then he flies down and taps a guy on the shoulder, and it's Kojak's Telly Savalas, who hands him a lollipop and says, who loves you, baby? I was brought up on Superman as a kid. There was a whole point in my life where I read Superman. So when I was finished with it, I was like, man, if they make this movie, they are destroying the legend of Superman. I wanted to do it just to defend him. I called a screenwriter friend of his, Tom Mankiewicz, who had been a friend for years. He said, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to do a comic book. I said, Tom, it's more than a comic book. Please come over. I got a little stoned, smoked some weed, put on the Superman costume. I was in pretty good shape then. I was like elastic.
Really
and Tom pulled up. And Tom pulled up and I ran across the lawn and Tom turned and looked at me and ran back to his car. Tom says, you're crazy. Get the fuck away from me. I said, listen, Tom, you got to read this. I gave him all my feelings about what we should do. I said, the most important thing when you look at this is make a love story and prove a man can fly. So he read it and he called me that night and said, there's a lot we can do with this. End quote. So Richard Donner convinces the Salkins they have to do something about this script. We need to start over basically from scratch. By all indications, the Mario Puzo script, nothing from that ended up in the movie. Okay, they got their director though. They've got their 2 highest paid actors, but the question remains, who's actually going to play the star of the movie?
Right.
Who will play Superman? The first idea is get an A-lister. Robert Redford, Paul Newman, Burt Reynolds, they all turn it down. Sylvester Stallone meets with Richard Donner. A young Arnold Schwarzenegger lobbies very hard for the role, but Richard Donner really wants to go with an unknown.
Complete unknown.
A complete unknown. And you got your two heavyweights, so also taking up a lot of the budget. Let's go for someone a little true. They auditioned 200 actors before giving a screen test to Christopher Reeve, who blows Richard Donner out of the water. He's like, oh, this is a lightning in a bottle. This is a star-making audition that I'm seeing on tape. And they hire him and say, you're going to wear a muscle suit, right? And he says, no, I'm going to train and bulk up. Whoa. And now everybody who plays a superhero does that and goes on a years-long regimen. But this was kind of a novel idea. How about I get in shape for a role? So just a little background on Christopher Reeve. He was 24 years old at the time of production of Superman. He was a stage actor growing up and like a very serious, like studying theater, went to Cornell, and then went to Juilliard's Advanced Acting Academy. The only other person who was accepted to the class at the time was Robin Williams, who would become a very close friend of his. Christopher Reeve was godfather to Robin Williams' first son. And then Christopher Reeve got cast on a soap opera called Love of Life in 1974, and he started splitting his time between the soap opera and stage acting, and he got cast in a play with Katharine Hepburn, who became a mentor to him. And the way she talked about him was like, this is clearly a guy who's going to be a star one day. Like it will happen. He said that he used Katharine Hepburn's movie Bringing Up Baby to influence his performance as Clark Kent. It's like, I got to play this like I'm playing a screwball comedy character or a Cary Grant character who, Clark Kent looks exactly like Superman. He just puts on glasses, but you have to play him entirely differently so that no one would ever suspect he's Superman because he's too much of a bumbling buffoon. So the first movie role he ever got was in a Charlton Heston movie called Grey Lady Down, and his second movie was Superman. And he said in his autobiography, quote, by the late 1970s, the masculine image had changed. Now it was acceptable for a man to show gentleness and vulnerability. I felt the new Superman ought to reflect that contemporary male image. End quote. And everybody, like, the movie got good reviews. It was an enormous hit at the box office. It got good reviews, but what everybody said, everybody could agree, was like, Christopher Reeve, this is a star-making role. He's amazing. Let's see. Starlog magazine said, quote, Christopher Reeve has become an instant international star on the basis of his first major movie role of Clark Kent / Superman. Film reviewers, regardless of their opinion of the film, have been almost unanimous in their praise of Reeve's dual portrayal. Wow. He is utterly convincing as he switches back and forth between personae. I had
no idea.
It's he's great. Margot Kidder, who plays Lois Lane, is like equally good. And Gene Hackman's great. Those are the three major reasons I love this movie. It's an enormous hit. $300 million in 1978 money. Gets 3 sequels. The one that they produce along with Superman 1, and then the weird Superman 3 co-starring Richard Pryor. Oh my God. And then the super low budget, many years later, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Superman's 3 and 4 are really bad, but they're interesting in how bad they are.
Okay.
But that's it. That's the history of the Superman movie. I look forward to, yes.
Is Christopher Reeve in all of them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, he is.
But so he went on to be a major movie star?
No.
Or he just did this?
Okay. So, famously got injured and disabled in 1995, I believe.
Right, but that was 20 years after this.
Right. It was kind of a case of you are so good in one particular role that it's hard for anybody to see you in any other kind of role. And the things that make you good in that role are not necessarily the things that could make you play a more complicated character or any kind of different character. I think he's really talented. He always worked steadily. And had he not been injured, I bet he would have had an interesting sort of third act in his career. I think especially as like the, movie brat or the Tarantinos who grew up watching like home video would have been like, Christopher Reeve deserves, that's like a reclamation project we can get behind.
You always have good ideas on what directors would save them who's saving who. Is he dead now?
He's dead. He died in 2007.
Oh, so he only lived 8 years after his injury? Is that what you said?
That would have been 12 years.
Oh, you said 97.
95 is when he got injured. He died in 2004, so he lived only 9 years. after he got paralyzed. Yeah, thrown from a horse in 1995, used a wheelchair and a ventilator for the rest of his life.
Okay,
and
so
then
he
became a big advocate for people with disabilities. And specifically, the thing that I really admire for, better insurance coverage for people with disabilities. It shouldn't. When you hear like advocacy, that can too easily just be like sort of what they call inspiration porn.
Right.
Look how great my life has been. It's like, yeah, but you're a rich and powerful person.
So he had a different voice after that, right? Like he had like, it was like kind of monotone a little.
Well, he had to use a ventilator, so he could only, I don't know if he could talk off the ventilator.
Okay.
I think he acted like twice after that in movies, you know, as a person on a ventilator. Mm-hmm. Like I know he did a Rear Window remake for TV, and then he died of heart failure.
Okay.
At the age of 52.
Just struggling to breathe on a ventilator is you wear out all your muscles.
Yeah,
that's really fucking sad. Would you say that his class of Juilliard was cursed just based on those two guys?
I would say so. Not good.
Man. Guys.
Superman, good movie. Look forward to Lacey actually watching it. All right, so I think it's pretty classy of HBO Max, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers Discovery, a very classy organization, to start this program with an in memoriam Gene Hackman slide.
That was nice.
Kind of interesting. And then, well, the movie starts.
Boy, does it.
really starts.
In the chances of having a seizure go way up.
Why do you say that?
There's so much like flashing lights. This is just before they knew to warn people about stuff like this, but it is very disorienting. The credits, as we mentioned, go on and on. It's the same, like it's looking like crystals from his planet, but it's this a lot. Like, it's hard to explain. Just over and over again, it feels like I'm in MK Ultra. Like I'm warfare is being done on my eyeballs.
Yeah, this we might find out one day. This movie was part of a program of some sort.
Yes, and then it goes into the them trying to make Superman's home planet look alien, and using the effects they had at the time was, let's crank up the brights and turn down the shadows so we can't see any faces. We can just see really bright fucking neon clothes.
I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Well, they got some valuable intel on us from having us watch this movie for 50 years. We just finished the movie. Lacey and I did. And Superman smiles at the camera at the end. Like literally like acknowledging the camera. Do you think the intent right there is like Superman's so powerful that he can even see through movies and can see you at home in the theater?
He's just a real personable guy. He never flies off and just flies off. It's not about him. He flies off and he acknowledges someone. He does it the entire movie. It's very nice. Yeah. And we were the only one there to acknowledge. He'd already said goodbye to the chief.
I like how whenever he saves someone, he always takes time. Gentlemen, this man needs medical attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, John Williams' theme totally doesn't sound like Star Wars. No. Well, if you got him in a room and are like, here's Star Wars, da, 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 and here's Superman, da, 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 you'd be like, no, they're in totally different keys. They do use very few of the same notes. But we as lay people, we just feel they're similar. But it's fine. This is one of the iconic superhero themes. It sounds like Superman. And indeed, how long has it been since there's been an iconic superhero theme at all? It's been years and years and years. Quick, sing Deadpool's theme to me, Lacey. Dun, 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 dun. Shit, she got it.
Wait, no. Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. That's it.
Okay.
In the latest movie.
That is cheating, as that existed before, but I'll give it to you. We go to Krypton, or as Marlon Brando calls it, Krypton.
He can't be bothered. He did this in 12 days.
We begin, it's the deepest recesses of space. There's a star that's about to go supernova. There's some model work that looks really cool. You can tell the texture of the planet from this. You get some texture. We meet Marlon Brando, and he starts giving a speech making the case for the prosecution of 3 terrorists, General Zod, and 2 others. What did they do? Wanton violence and destruction, perversions, and unreasoning hatred of mankind. This is where you get the most of the because these are the villains of Superman 2.
Okay.
And I know this wasn't the first movie to literally like plan out what you're going to be doing in your sequels, but to produce them back to back, it's just kind of neat that you have them here, right here, the seeds for the next movie.
I did assume, and I've heard of that little guy before.
The little guy of General Zod?
Yeah, give him a couple more inches. He's not so mean.
The council pronounces them guilty. And General Zod, who's played by Terrence Stamp, is like, he yells at Jor-El. He's like, Jor-El, fucking bow before me if you don't one day you're heirs. But they get sentenced to the Phantom Zone.
First he offers him a sweet-ass deal. And he's like, no, I'm a good guy. Bye now.
I'll set up my new order, my totalitarian order or whatever, and you can be my number 2 man.
How does that sound? And he says, no, I'm a good boy. And he says, you will kneel before me then. Nanny boo-boo.
You and one day, your ass. The Phantom Zone, this neat little space box, 2-dimensional space box that they get sent into. Jor-El goes and he meets with the council and he's like, good news. We sent those guys up into the Phantom Zone. They're like, yeah, that's really great. Good. Anything else? And he's like, yes, there's the matter of our planet, which is facing imminent destruction. Look, it's our destructing algorithm indicators are off the chart. And they're like, relax, Jor-El. It's just the fluctuation.
You're going to cause a whole thing. Everybody, we got dinner plans.
So they're like denying that the planet...
It's climate change, I guess.
Yes, they're denying that anything's wrong. Also, if something was wrong, we wouldn't want to cause a panic.
Well, and also, we wouldn't want to have to detain you because you're a loose cannon now. Like, just let me leave so I can get my affairs together. I'll be super quiet about it.
Yeah. So there is a special edition of the movie that I watched to make my notes. You and I watched the theatrical cut. Now I realized that the version I grew up with was the special edition because there's scenes in it like Superman getting, like Lex Luthor having a sort of machine gun thing to shoot Superman with when he first gets to his lair. Mm-hmm. That when we're watching the theatrical, I'm like, wait, did I imagine that scene? No, it's in the special edition. But the other weird thing about the special edition is there's just tons of scenes that have like one extra line of dialogue that are totally unnecessary. And then there's more stuff with like the Kryptonian elders talking about, Jor-El, don't you do that thing you're always doing.
It's a good
and you just back and forth. Yeah, it's
get it out of there.
Because the movie moves real fast. The theatrical cut does.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, I just wanted to point out this. I'd like to look into other Marlon Brando movies, but I think his acting tick might be my friend. When he forgets a line, he just says, he grabs the shoulders of the person nearest him. It's my friend, my boy, my confidant. And then he gives him a minute to think of his line.
I think you might be right. Yeah. Yes. A very ticky actor, lots of tricks. Maybe the most biggest bag of tricks actor there ever was. Call him the rabbit from the cereal. Remember cereal? It will come back later. But anyway, any attempt to create a climate of panic will be considered an act of insurrection out of you, Jor-El. And he's like, oh, okay, you shan't hear a word from me. But he goes to talk to his wife, and they're secretly going to send their baby to Earth, even though Earth is thousands of years behind us. Why, they're savages, they are. That's what the mother says.
That's why he'll have an advantage. He'll be all the things that they are not.
But Jor-El's like, he'll be so strong and so fast. His mom's like, but he'll be an outcast. He'll be lonely, get competing visions of what his life will be. And indeed, kind of happens in the movie.
All superheroes do get lonely.
So they put their baby in the crystal pod, and embedded in the crystals is lots of like audio recordings of his dad lecturing him about physics.
And hopefully like some juice or some sort of nutrients because he grows 4 years.
He eats crystals. He just absorbs it. I don't know.
Okay.
Even though he later says he eats when he gets hungry, but this movie's not big on details, and that's, it's Donner's tone is very like feather light. Just don't worry about any of that. This is just a fun little, it's almost a fairy tale.
Except for there are really scary scenes, like horror movie level scary action sequences that I don't know if we've just like combed those out because there's no need to have that kind of realism in certain things and prolonged screaming and torture of people.
What are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the helicopter scene with Lois Lane, and I'm thinking of the ends where she gets buried alive. It's fucking and there's more, and there's another one and I can't think of. There's just very fucking realistic and traumatizing, and like that person's not coming. I don't care if Superman's saving them, they're not going to be right.
Right. I mean, maybe it's just, this is a very skilled, horror director, just made The Omen, also just top-notch practical effects. So it just feels way more real than in your superhero movie today, where the danger is a city gets destroyed by a big space glob and it doesn't feel like anything.
And he must be one of those directors that's just really good at like telling someone like Margot Kidder to be like, okay, just scream. You're going, this is so scary. This is the scariest thing. Just grab your shirt and grab it. Like, she's really selling it too. Mm-hmm. It's both of her scenes. The one in the hell, oh no. I mean, I'm like, oh, it's too late. Just let her die.
Yeah, the helicopter scene
fucked up.
Not only is it great at putting you in it, but showing you what the helicopter going out of control is doing to the little like helipad that it's on and crashing into the building and stuff. And it's like very simple stuff, but it feels so much more effective than what you see in a blockbuster today.
Yeah.
Baby goes into the thing. Bye-bye, baby.
Yeah, bye-bye. Then the planet blows up. Yay.
There's a lot more destruction in the special edition, which I think is pretty cool. Like you see the Kryptonian people like dying as their planet crumbles and blows up. All right. Well, the baby, Kal-El, now 3 years old, crashes onto the earth in Kansas, and he's discovered by Ma and Pa Kent,
who think his baby wiener is adorable.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of baby penises back in the day, and I don't think we get them anymore.
Darn it.
It was on all our album covers. It was
yes, I know.
All of your Simpsons movies.
Was it?
It was in the Simpsons movie. It's a good joke in the Simpsons movie.
All right, enough wiener talk.
Yeah, these old fucks are like, what's that over there? And they look in and it's a little baby who's like, here I am. And Lacey's immediately like, that's not a cute baby. And gets mad at this baby for not having a cute face.
He's fine. He just could have been more attractive.
He could have been more attractive. Lacey's like the casting cat. She's like Harvey Weinstein of babies.
Can you tell what's wrong? I can tell immediately by looking at him. What is missing? Eyebrows. Give that boy eyebrows. Now he got a cute kid.
They were singed off in the meteor.
I don't need a reason why they're gone. I'm telling you why the boy's off-putting.
And the mom is like, we've always wanted God to send us a baby. Now we have one, and we'll just tell him he's our cousins, and then they dropped him off at our place. And the dad, Jonathan Kent, played by the legend Glenn Ford, is like, now Martha Clark Kent, what have I told you about having plans? Have I ever used your full name to you, Lacey? Is this a thing husbands do?
It's usually what parents do to a child. Also, I feel like he just Lacey Elizabeth Rothed her and gave her his middle and last, because why is her middle name Clark? But why is my middle name Roth?
Right.
Things are weird.
Well,
but that's how we find out how Superman gets his name.
If you were wondering, that's it.
Now I know.
I believe Clark is her maiden name. So it actually is her giving, your maiden name is Roth. We gave Roth to the middle name of our child.
Look at there.
There you go.
Now you can dox us, guys. You got all the info.
Kal-El wows them by lifting up the truck, and this convinces Jonathan Kent to be like, yeah, I guess we can keep him. He's very strong baby. We can put him to good work on the farm.
We live on a farm. Strong baby, good.
Because this movie has a featherlight touch and is very fleet of foot, we just jump ahead in time. Now he's a teenager. He's the football team's equipment manager, and he has to lick the boots of all the cool kids because he's not allowed to use his cool powers to be cool. So this girl, Lana Lang, invites Clark to go, like, hey, would you like to go listen to some records?
Lana Lang and then Lois Lane. Interesting.
She invites him to go listen to some cool records with my groovy friends, but then this big tough guy's like, no, he can't go. He needs to fucking...
He got helmets for days. Look. And he looks over. He's like, gee, that is 12 helmets. I definitely can't fuck this girl. Aw, man.
So she hops into the back of the car with this goon, and he has like 12 cheerleaders just packed into his car. We'll go fuck these 12 cheerleaders.
He needed all of them.
Clark is mad, Because again, he can't show everybody how cool he really is, and he kicks the football in frustration, and it goes a million miles. Then he's running beside this train, and it looks silly, but like the movie really captures how fun it looks to go real fast. Do you agree?
It sure. There's a little Forrest Gump in there. There's a little Edward, not Snowden. But Cullen, yeah, that's the one.
I didn't think you were saying Snowden.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to clarify. It is silly to make someone run fast if they're going faster than something they should be going. Like, because what do you do with their face? Everything that you're doing that's superhuman makes you look stupid. What are you gonna do?
On the train, there's a girl who's like, "Look, mommy, it's a guy running real fast." In the special edition, we reveal this is Lois Lane. And they're like, Lois Lane, you have a writer's gift for imagination.
Slap!
Hope you put it to good use. And then slap, because that's just what we were doing in the 50s.
Yeah, just that kid's talking when I got on my soaps. Is there TV? I don't know.
Or at any moment. Kids talking, you gotta correct that.
You have scissors. Slap. You don't talk with scissors.
Anyway, Clark runs back to his house. Then the teens pass him and they're like, Clark, how'd you beat us? And he's like, I ran. And then Clark's dad hears this and he's like, now, son, what were you doing? Showing off? And he's like, yeah, I'm real sorry, Pop. I'm sorry I did that. And he's like, it's okay. But all I know is you came to this world for a reason. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not for scoring touchdowns. And this is basically the one Glenn Ford scene, but he's really wonderful in this little scene, really important to setting up who Clark is. And I think that maybe the movie could emphasize this a little more. But the very end of the movie, which we just watched, has Clark freaking out when Lois dies, going into the sky and seeing Jor-El in the cloud saying, you can't interfere. But then that gets drowned out by his human dad.
Yeah.
And it's like him learning, I choose my human dad over my Krypton dad.
I choose my destiny, not your fucking flavor crystals.
Yes. And the movie that's one little thing I would have liked in the movie, just a little more of him feeling torn between those identities and deciding. I like when somebody decides to be immortal or to be a mortal rather than being a god.
Yeah. But
then the dad just drops dead right there. Like, oh, my arm, shit. Heart attack.
Real Spider-Man, Peter's uncle of you. Just saying.
I mean, yes. And the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, I think, really, really studied this movie because they want to go for this tone. They love, Peter Parker constantly getting shat on by everybody. Things like just simple things like I get to the elevator and it slams shut on me. And that's always happening to Clark Kent as well.
Man, they like these Cheerios. They really give a lot of. Is it product placement or do they just not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we are looking at Ma Kent, who is after they bury Pa Kent in the Smallville cemetery. And we just get this amazing, like John Ford scenery photography, shots of the landscape. Although I kept checking, where is the horizon? Is it in the middle or is it in the bottom or the top? Would John Ford approve of this or not?
Good point.
But I'm not good enough at, you remember his lesson from the end of the Fabelmans? Yeah, so that means it's boring.
Okay.
But yeah, Ma Kent looks out on her John Ford landscape and there is a Cheerios box that she has with her. And the entire scene is lit so that you can only see her silhouette and the Cheerios box. Then you get the reverse shot. You see her from outside and the Cheerios box has now been turned
and glowing
toward the camera.
A candle's been put inside of it.
Cheerios. She goes out. Her son is like out on the hill and she's like, what are you doing? Well, we forgot to mention that in the middle of the night, he got woken up and he got drawn to the barn. Something drew him and it was a green crystal buried underneath the earth. And so now he's like,
it's just in a box, Matt.
Whatever. I have to leave, Mom. And she says, I knew this day would come. We both knew from the day we found you.
You could find the green crystal we put in that chest that keeps saying, Clark.
What?
Jor-el, or whatever his name is. Krypton guy.
I think the other thing I think we're missing is just like one maybe callback with his mom at the end of the movie.
Women do not matter in this. Lois Lane does, but only because she's always in distress. But there's bimbos, there's old ladies you leave behind. There's his mom who cared about his loneliness, never mentioned again.
Yeah, never. Send her some money.
And this old lady who can't figure out how to get out of her screen door, never thought of again. So I
guess maybe it's like, well, we don't see Christopher Reeve interact with either of those people, so I know that we know it's the same person, but we don't see, because he's not played by Christopher Reeve yet. Anyway, gotta go, Mom. Yeah, okay. You know where you're going? I'm going north. All right.
I'm going to the island of lost toys. I don't understand this voyage. The next thing you see, he's in a place that does not exist on Earth. I guess it's supposed to be part of the Neverending Story.
Yeah. He's Buddy the Elf. He's Yukon Cornelius. He's like on floating ice pallets and stuff. Just following the song in his soul.
Following vibes.
And then eventually he just chucks the green crystal. It goes really far away and then starts building a palace of ice.
Let it go of the ice. It's just cold.
He goes in. What's in this palace of ice? And it's
fucking
Marlon Brando.
The most boring shit. There's nothing to play with, nothing to eat. You just got to sit there and think and look at your dad's giant head. He couldn't even project a head that's like to scale. Why has it got to be the biggest head?
He's got a tower over him. Let him know. I may be dead, but I'm still your father.
About time. Took you 18 Earth years, my friend.
So they spend the next decade or so with him, giving him lessons. Here's the theory of relativity. These are the Italian explorers you need to know. Da Gama, Americo Vespucci. But they go off into space. Anyway, just it goes on a little while. Now, bada bing, bada boom, Christopher Reeve is here. It's years later. It's 50 minutes into the movie. Here's the star of the movie. He's in the Superman costume. He flies into the camera.
You need to go to New Yorkotropolis.
Exactly. First movie over. Now we get to the real movie.
Yeah.
And things start chucking along. And Lacey seems to start having a good time. My immense relief.
Lois Lane's got charm for fucking days. And I do enjoy Mr. Reeve. Everybody's just so gosh darn nice. Even the meanies are nice.
Is her charm in her wazoo or out?
I don't know what that. Oh, it's without and within, honestly. And even the guy that mugs them in a few scenes, it's like, girl, come on.
Yeah.
Come here. Hey, you, come on. It seems like they have a choice. These are nice guys.
It's a nice world. Mm-hmm. Do they really need Superman that much? I don't know. It's a question we'll tackle as we go along.
The problem is all the climate change.
Well, and is Superman utilizing his powers for the ultimate good? He's like stopping bank robbers and stuff, but like, buddy, you can screen people for cancer. How about setting up a clinic? Just come by.
Yeah.
Early detection is key. But so what happens when Clark arrives in Metropolis?
Well, he already secured himself a job.
Yes.
He's already impressed the hell out of the boss, and now he's going to be shown around by Lois Lane to learn how to work at the Daily Planet.
Margot Kidder is Lois Lane. Margot Kidder is wonderful in this role. Everything at the office is intentionally supposed to be like a 1930s comedy, a screwball comedy, where everything is hectic. Everybody's talking over each other, rat-a-tat-tat. But the joke with Lois Lane is that all the stories she's working on are always very horrifying. She's like, how do you spell bloodletting? How do you spell massacre? Hey, Lois, there's only one P in rapist. She has a thing with like, oh, I love my story about the sex and drugs orgies at the old folks' home.
Okay, but like they never could have predicted that. That just sounds like news now.
Yeah.
That is all anyone writes about.
Right. And her boss at one point is like, Lois, you're always bringing this tabloid garbage to me. We do hard news here.
What, like... give me an example.
I don't know, but this is like a successful enough news organization that they have a helipad on top of their building.
Well, and they work for the world. It's not just the New York Times, the Washington Post.
I love Daily Planet. It's
such a great logo. Mm-hmm. I want that big giant. But something ruined it. Is it not Planet Fitness? Hollywood Planet? Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood?
Yes, they have such a fucking similar goddamn look. Ruined it. Took a little bit of it.
Little update for Album Gate. We are no closer to determining
have not figured
what
out
the album cover is. I sent Lacey a Matchbox 20 album cover.
I didn't even write back. I was so disappointed with it.
Oh, damn it. I think that is the one that I was thinking of.
It's the wrong one, and now I feel alone. I feel like I'm in a fortress of solitude.
So, yeah, Clark is arriving for his first day of work. He secured this job because he's a very fast typist. That's how it worked back in the day. God, the American economy. Just, I'm here for a job. How fast can you type? Pretty fast.
Thought he wasn't supposed to show off.
you're hired, and I'm giving you Miss Lane's old beat. And she's like, hey.
She's the best we've got. What the fuck?
I don't know. That's just white man's privilege. Sure. Clark is like, oh, Mr. White, golly gee. He's just bumblefucking his way around. Although not, he's like.
It's not as bad as I thought it'd be.
He's not playing like the Eugene from Grease kind of nerd.
No.
He's just like, I'm a very good-spirited,
he's from like
well-meaning,
the heart of the country. He's just seems like a farm boy. He's playing super naive and like from maybe 10 or 15 years in the past.
Yeah, playing the caricature of what New Yorkers think of Kansans.
Yeah.
So can you send half of my paycheck back to my ma back at home? And Margot,
he didn't say that. Margot's like, wait, half your paycheck, don't tell me. It's to some little old lady that's your mother. And he's like, well, no, she's got so. Anyway, it is that, but he doesn't say it. She says it. As a facetious moment. It just happens to be right.
Sure, thank you. And then she says, are there any more at home like you? And I guess she's like, because you're no good for me, but maybe others would be.
She's just, you're not supposed to date it at the job. She's being professional.
Okay. I guess that's what it is. Well, Clark escorts her out of the workplace at the end of the day. She's like, how was your first day? And he's like, oh, it was a lot of work, but gosh, Mr. White was so nice and you were so nice.
Boss is so nice.
Jimmy was so nice. It was just swell.
And then here comes the come here, maybe.
The sweetest mugger in cinema history,
come on.
Lacey says.
Come on.
Folks, could you come here, please?
No, it's just like, hey, I'm a little stinker. You want to come over here?
Yeah, and Clark is doing golly gee,
guess
please,
we better.
no. Lois, you better give him what he wants. And she kicks the guy in the face.
With open-toed shoes, I will add.
Does that make it worse?
It means she kicked him with her bare toes, Matt.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
Rather than surrender her $10. And so the guy is going to shoot her, but Clark catches the bullet and then pretends to faint. And the robber runs away. And then Lois looks down and is like, Clark. And he's like, oh, gosh, I must have fainted. I'm sorry. Just a big old dumbass.
Lug. And he just rolls his eyes like, oh, Lois, you almost died. You're crazy.
Now we meet the great Ned Beatty, just one of the best actors ever, most versatile actors, could play the scariest person of all time, like in Network. He can play the most bumbling, dumbass, fat ass
but he's not even fat.
I know he's not fat. They say, you weigh 200 pounds.
So do I.
Yeah. It's like, I weighed 200 pounds when I was 17.
In my bra. Okay, just kidding.
But whenever we see Ned Beatty as Otis, the score just gets so like whimsical.
It's not whimsical. It's like farts. It's like lollipop farts.
Here comes stupid.
And before I realized his character just was stupid, they just keep showing him in a distance and going about his day. And I said, if I found out after production that every time I'm on screen they play the fat fucking poop music, I would be so mad. And then I'm like, oh, okay. He already knew. His character's very, very stupid.
Yes, but you've just flagged something I've never thought about. That is probably what actors respond to the most when they finally see a cut of a movie. Like, why did you put that music in when I'm on screen?
When it's slow motion, when it's not, because you're doing it in fast motion. You don't know when things are going to be slowed down and look really fucking cool. You don't always know.
I thought I looked like a badass, and you're saying I'm looking.
Yeah.
So some cops are like, that's the guy. You think he's going to lead us to the big man, Luthor? So they're
aware of him.
Oh yeah. They follow him.
He's just like a myth, though. He's like a mole person that lives under the city. We're pretty sure he's real.
Right. Well, he's like Batman. The Bat? Oh, you got a bigger chance of winning the lotto. Seeing that guy.
Uh-huh.
They follow Otis down into the train station and then down onto the train tracks. They're going to get him, but he goes through the secret passageway right as a train comes. And then in the Lex Luthor lair, they press the button to push the door out, which pushes the cop onto the tracks.
Kills him.
And kills him dead. Yeah.
This is the coolest fucking underground lair I've ever seen in my life. I was already pumped when I found out it was in the fucking
train station.
Gutters.
Okay.
What am I trying to say? Gutters. Sewer. I was thinking, shit, I'll take it. I'll take some Two-Face layer. I'll take some fucking the Penguin layer. I'll take whatever you got. There's even some Avengers that fuck around in the sewer. I'm happy for whatever. And then it's a gorgeous library with the most majestic pool that is actually like a part of a building's bottom, and it's got stairs that go into it, like fucking Titanic stairs. It's amazing.
Nothing better than a pool that's a thing.
It's business water in the best way. And if
I don't
you don't
think
know
it's business water. I think this is chlorinated, treated pool water.
I got you. But what makes it business water is not the water. It's what's in it. So if you could accidentally step on things that take care of business that aren't in there just so you have a pool time, pleasure time, it's business water. That's why a fountain has business water.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. And this is years before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
We didn't even know the years ahead of sewer layers. This is the one.
The only thing missing to make this the most magical, but I still find it very magical, is some sort of pneumatic system, because they're underground. So I would like to see how they get in and out, and it can't just be that one way. Because that just seems so dirty. This place is classy. It's a classy broad that comes out of here. She ain't classy, but she's fancy. So there's got to be other ways you get in and out of this place.
What were we watching recently with a pneumatic tube?
I know.
You said, "Oh, I love a pneumatic tube," and I said,
Right.
I do too.
I don't know. I can't remember. I was trying to think.
All right, well.
All right. It must be Rushmore. Could it? It was the thing we abandoned.
That was Rushmore.
Well, I don't know that it was the thing we were abandoning. It just might be the thing that maybe it was the Royal Tenenbaums.
Probably like a fucking
He'd like a pneumatic tube.
Everything
was that.
Fancy man.
Real sucky. I like a good suck on my hand. You're like.
Anyway, Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor, one of the all-time great villain performances. This is why he's my favorite actor. This isn't my favorite performance of his, but this might be the one where I'd point to, like, who is better? Give me a better person in a movie.
Because, like, what was he given? He's so there's so many layers on this guy. He's
match the tone.
Asshole. He's funny. He's loving. He's the worst.
Yes.
He's delightfully evil, but he's
be all of those things and be totally coherent with the tone of the movie.
Right.
Where he's funny and just menacing enough
to
go a little scarier than what the rest of the movie is, but not too much so that it doesn't feel like it belongs.
And if you've got a movie where someone keeps telling you how smart they are, it's usually the fact that the joke is they're not. But maybe the most impressive plan to get power and money I've ever heard of in a movie, especially for one that's kind of silly like this one, and for his research abilities and how he found out that kryptonite was the only thing that had the way he figured it. Like it's not just blah 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 blah. There's a whole thing. This movie bothered to think it through.
I know. Yes, Lacey like basically made us pause the movie so she could compliment how good the scheme was. Like that is a good villain scheme.
He kept saying it was going to be the best thing of all time, and I'm like, there's no way he's not just blowing up something. There's no way. But and I was right. But he did it. It was so smart. Except for he didn't think about the fact that, you break off California at the fault line and then you own all the cheap land that now becomes the prime real estate, except for, do people want to live on a fault line that's now completely cracked, has no water, and just has rubble of millions of dead people as their scenery? I don't know if he thought this through.
No,
I don't know that the ocean's deep enough.
Yes. Do people want to live? Why do people live in Florida right now? Why do people live where we live right now?
Fine, but I think it would take years and years for people to get over there, and not, I think, just out of fucking, it'd be just like, you're not going to, okay, you know what real estate's going to be cheap? Where those twin towers fell down. I'm going to get an apartment right on the side of that. So while they're figuring that shit out, cleaning it up, there's still legs sticking out of the fucking rubble. I'm going to have the sweetest apartment. That's my point. It's going to be decades before you're going to be able to get this payoff. Lex.
Well, that's why you're not Lex Luthor, because he sees the world in decades.
He's already old.
He's not that old.
He's middle-aged.
Yeah. But I like his flaw is he is super smart, but like he cannot help but surround himself with dumbasses.
What are these henchmen? I am completely confused by the lady.
Because they're like,
I don't get it.
I don't know. This is a thing people have where you're like, you're really smart and accomplished. Why are you always with this loser?
Because you're also really insecure.
Yes, that's why.
And the only thing about you is you're smart. So you have to be the smartest guy in the room, or else you don't have a thing.
Right. So that will actually prevent you from bringing on people who might be an asset to your organization. You're like, don't look at me. Stop looking at me.
Which makes me a little worried why you married me. Am I smart or dumb? Oh, no, I don't know.
I'm not smart. Somebody commented Matt thinks he's smarter than I am.
Right. You don't have to be smart. You just have to think you're smart, man.
It wounded me because that's true. I do think I'm smarter than I am. I'm just good at like retaining information and spitting it back out.
That sounds smart to me. I like it.
I was listening to the podcast Guys with Brian Quimby, a podcast about guys. He had an episode on smart guys. Basically, he'll just like go into a Reddit subculture and he went onto like the Mensa subreddit. And people were like, how do you date people who are in, what's the word? Fucking.
Benza?
No, the.
Womenza? Normies?
No, when you're who are like standard deviations below you.
Oh yeah, got it.
And they're like, I find you can date 2 at max below your level of intellect. Anything beyond that, they just become too materialistic. And this is the most like evil sounding people talking about how to date people who aren't as smart as them. And anyway, check out the Guys with Brian Quimby. Anyway, Lex asks the question, why does the most brilliant criminal mastermind of his time surround himself with total nincompoops? And then Ned Beatty enters. He's like, I'm here, Mr. Luthor. Like, yes, I was just talking about you.
He also, you don't want to run the risk of having someone smart enough to outsmart you enough for you to like give away some of your plans or take away. I mean, if you're trying to do crime, you probably need useful idiots, not other smarties.
Right. Like how can Ocean's 11 actually trust each other? How can the best jewel thieves actually have like this team? Aren't you just going to assume they're always going to be betraying each other?
They would heartbreakers each other.
Yeah.
They would, the fucking lady that raised you would, as soon as she has your social security number, is going to wipe out your bank accounts, and you're going to be a loving mother who also cons your daughter just for fun.
So it's the only thing you can actually do. It's the smart move. You just have to work with nincompoops. Yes. Lex starts lecturing about how he's going to buy lots of land. My daddy said they're not making any more land. Buy a lot of land. And there's a thing on the front page of the paper about the government launching some missiles. He's doing all of this just by reading the newspaper.
And he's got his own library.
Then, the helicopter rescue. Tell us about the helicopter rescue, Lacey.
Well, Lois is always on the go, always trying to get a scoop, do a thing. And Air Force One is going to be landing, so she wants to like see the fucking president get out of the airplane. But Clark is trying to get a date, and she's like, nope, not unless you have a plane. Bye. And so she gets up there, and she's just, she's loving life. She doesn't want to slow down, doesn't want to be like her sister. She just wants to get the story, get the scoop. And she gets up there, and like she gets in the plane, and she's really just having a great day. And just to watch it wash all over her of like, maybe I have made the wrong life decisions. Maybe I am living a life of emptiness. I'm about to die alone in this fucking helicopter. There's a helicopter there's no bad guys up here. It just gets stuck on its cable. And
it's just behaving like a helicopter.
Well, but it's behaving like a helicopter that is tied to a leash that it's not supposed to. So it's helicoptering around and around. It is fucking scary and effective, and she is screaming her ass off. The pilot does not know what to do to make it stop. Doesn't seem to know how to make the helicopter not be helicoptering anymore. It's just it's more like it's from a thriller or a horror movie. And then all these people are at the bottom of the building just like looking up like, oh no, big item gonna fall down. Oh, we should all be careful. Maybe move.
Which is a thing that is totally gone from superhero movies today is normal people's perspective, and the normal people being thrilled at watching a rescue.
Yeah.
Which was such a staple of superhero movies for so long, and it's just gone.
It's in Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think the last time it was really used was Avengers 2012 when they get down to the people's perspective and they enlist like the locals to help them. And then after that, it's like, we're not interested in anybody who doesn't have a superpower.
Well, that's because they stack their cast so fucking deep. There's no screen time for anybody else.
Exactly. Yes. It's teetering over the side of the building. The crowd is gathered. Clark, down on the ground, sees that she's in trouble. He's like, I got to change to my Superman costume. And everybody in the audience is like, I know where Superman changes a phone booth. But it's 1978. There's no gosh darn phone booths anymore. So he changes real fast in a revolving door. And he gets her and he's like, easy, miss. I've got you. She's like, you've got me. Who's got you? I love this person down on the ground who says very calmly, I can't believe it. I just can't believe that he got her.
That's exactly what someone would say. Look, he did it. Okay.
And he carries the helicopter away and they're like, yay, good job.
Well, guess we'll go get the pizza. So, he is so gentle. he's always considering that there's a human inside of a thing. Like today's superheroes, they know they need to stop the big, like, a train is hurtling the wrong way. I'm going to fucking stop it. And then, like, no consideration for the people inside. He is so gentle. He's going to he's not just going to drag this helicopter up where it goes. He's going to make it fly like a human body needs it to. So the pilot's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then he immediately says, like, the helicopter pilot needs medical attention. Stat.
He's truly a Boy Scout.
And then he tells Lois, I hope this hasn't turned you off of flying. Statistically, it's the safest way to travel. Not helicopter. Not true of helicopter flying, right? Can't be.
No idea.
Well, I feel like helicopters are dangerous as shit, but maybe we just hear about the deadly helicopter crashes.
They crash locally. They're not going on long distance. We just hear about them because they're around.
They need to think global.
That's right. Daily Planet.
Who are you? Lois asks, and he says, a friend. And then he flies away.
Oh, okay, that comes back.
So we get this montage of him doing good stuff. He stops a cat burglar who's doing a Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, scaling the side of the building.
To that cat burglar, I say you're doing too much. You could have used the inside.
He stops some robbers who escape on a boat and then just drops the boat in the middle of Manhattan.
You've now caused such a crisis in the morning. And also the police need to get in and out of here, sir. Like, you're really kind of doing some damage. I do appreciate how naive he is and how, like, he's just a fucking goober. He doesn't save this. Here's a boat. Everybody like it? What do you think? Like, I don't know. There's something very sweet about the way he does it and not practical.
Yeah, and he is not like a super genius Lex Luthor. Like, how can I best optimize my saving ability? Because he's like, yeah, I'll stop and help a girl with her cat.
Right. Yeah, he's not Iron Man. He's not, or even Batman, who's all about his intelligence. He's just like, I sure am strong. I'm gonna go pick up something if it needs it. La 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 la. Oh, gee, yours nice. That's his music.
That's exactly, yeah.
John Williams should have called me.
And it turns out it's exactly what America needs right now.
It's refreshing. I like that there's not one moment where he's like, I love the smell of my own shit.
No snark, no quips.
No, he's just helpful.
No him making fun of Superman. Sounds kind of dumb.
I mean, he is wearing his underwear on the outside, and that is bothering me the entire time. But I get it.
He saves the girl with her cat Frisky, and then she goes inside, and her mom's like, she's like, Mommy, Superman, save me. Save my cat. And then I told you not to tell lies. Slap.
Now, the next day in the fucking newspapers, when there's all these reports about a flying man, does she take the slap back? Does she offer her face to be slapped in a payment? I didn't think so.
Now, I haven't seen the sequels in a few years. I'm pretty sure this recurs throughout this is a runner throughout the series. Is this girl getting abused by her mom for seeing Superman? And I believe it's parodied in the Captain Underpants novels. Somebody check those novels out and confirm for me.
Yeah, get back.
Anyway, then he saves Air Force One. So with Jimmy Carter on board, presumably. Oh, thanks so much, Superman. So there's a scene in the special edition of the movie, which we didn't watch. I watched it on my own, where Clark goes back to talk to Jor-El, and he's like, hey, I'm feeling real torn between being a human being and being a savior. And his dad is like, oh, well, sounds real tough, but you'll figure it out. And it interrupts the movie's momentum. It's not necessary at all, but it is good to see Christopher Reeve acting with Marlon Brando, which we don't see at all in the theatrical cut.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Then it's the it's the next day at work, and Mr. White is yelling at all the reporters. He's like, "Get me the scoop on Superman.
Give me the poop scoop. Somebody got to do it.
I want to know everything. Does he have a girlfriend? Does he eat fried food? Where does he get his blue pants tailored?" Anyway, it'll be the most important interview since God talked to Moses. As he's, talking, Lois Lane gets a note saying, "Meet me at your place tonight, a friend." And then it's that night, and she has this ridiculous sprawling penthouse with a backyard.
Just a beautiful garden. She is Jasmine. She is on the very amazing balcony waiting for Aladdin. She's in a blue dress. It's going to go.
It is a fairy tale.
Yep.
So Superman arrives. She's like, "Oh my God, Superman's going to show up. Got a really impressive with the way I look." And he shows up and he's like, "Well, hello. You're a reporter and the best in town, I hear. So I bet people have a lot of questions of me. Why don't you write a nice piece on me?" And she's like, "Okay, great." She starts smoking cigarettes because it was the glorious 1970s where you could do that. And, Superman screens her for lung cancer. She's good for now. And again, Superman should start a cancer screening clinic.
Yes.
That's how he could do the most good in the world. She's asking him questions. Are you married? How big are you? How tall are you? Do you
blow it?
Eat?
Ma'am.
He starts explaining that here's my rules. I can't see through lead, so I can't see what color underwear you're wearing. Write that down, please. She does.
She's like, behind a lead planter box.
I come from the planet Krypton. In 1948, it blew up. Here's what I'm vulnerable to. And I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. And Lois says, you're going to fight every politician in the country. So I think that we could, there's an interesting conversation to be had about like what this movie's take on politics is and Superman's role in the world. 1978 is basically the tail end of this decade of immense disenchantment with all institutions of public life, starting with the Kennedy assassination and then Vietnam, Watergate, the Church Committee hearings, which tell you all the horrific shit that America's military and intelligence agencies are doing all around the world. And it's like, you cannot come to the conclusion we are the good guys anymore. But this is sort of a beginning of a retrenchment. Like, no. We're good.
So between him and Hulk Hogan, America really came back.
Right. I think that this is kind of like this comes back full force in the 80s. I mean, Reagan's whole message is like, we don't have to apologize for shit. We're the best. Shut up. And this is kind of the only acknowledgement of that idea of him saying, I'm here to fight for the American way. And she's like, what American way? We don't do that. Like, the American way is bad now. And he's like, no, gosh, I think it's good. Oh, okay, it's good. So they go fly. It
is quite the prolonged flying sequence. It's really sweet. It's very relatable. I'm like, what would I do? What would I do up there? I guess I'd try to fly too, like this. And then I'd accidentally let go. And he'd wait a little second. I don't know why. And then he'd save me. And then he'd do it again. And then, there's something very realistic about it. Very stupid about it. And it goes on and on. And I'm thinking, if I'm a little kid who thought he was coming to see a Superman movie, I am so pissed with this scene.
Really? Because I think
so.
I mean, what the tagline was, you'll believe a man can fly. They feel really good about the flying special effects. And I think that I think they're still effective if you weren't thinking about how dumb it looks. You were thinking,
I'm fine, but I don't know how long I need. It's just like the credits. I'm not sure how long I need to see a cool effect. Just get in, get out, man.
I know.
Don't let me spend so much time with everything.
If it's 1978 and you're in the theater, you're like, holy shit. It was like me with Avatar, Way of Water. I could just watch them be underwater for 2 straight hours. I was so dreading this moment because of when she starts her poem.
It didn't bother me.
Can you read my mind?
It was weird, but I mean, I didn't. The movie's weird.
The movie is weird.
Yeah.
So the idea here was she would literally sing this song. She's just saying the lyrics to what would have been the song
in her head.
Yes. And I guess she would have sung the song in her head. She wouldn't have literally done a musical number. I don't know though. And it's this theme that keeps recurring. The do 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 do. That's can you read my mind? Mm-hmm. You can hear recorded versions of this. There was one that came out that, charted on the Billboard charts. But Richard Donner's like, no, we can't do this. That sort of breaks the movie too much. But I think that one way it might work is that this movie's kind of like a Bollywood movie. Uh-huh. It kind of has that vibe. And Bollywood movies and Indian movies in general, not just Bollywood, not just the Hindi language movies, will often have musical numbers. It will be a musical and also a crime movie and also a comedy and also a romance. It's like put all the movies into one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're getting with this
That's
movie.
What Kill was like is this romance movie and the bloodiest movie ever.
Yeah.
And overly sweet. And then it's also a comedy. Yeah.
Kill, if you haven't seen it, everybody, a Hindi language action movie.
Really good.
The Indian John Wick is a reductive way to put it, but it's awesome. It's thrilling. And that is grounded for Indian cinema. And it's relatively short. Indian movies can be 3 hours long and super violent, but also have romantic musical numbers.
That new Josh Hartnett movie, Fight or Flight, looks fucking awesome. And it looks like an airplane version of Kill. I'm excited.
Fuck yes.
And it's made by the guys who made John Wick.
So he returns her to her house. He flies away and she's like, what a Superman. What? And then Clark Kent arrives. He's like, Lois, we have a date tonight. Oh,
like, we fucking did? I got a note.
Yeah.
I was always going to be meeting a friend. I guess you're a friend.
But she agreed to go on a date with him, I guess. I don't. The movie skips past a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, she's like, what? Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And when she's in the bathroom, Clark is like, decides, I need to tell her the truth. Hey, Lois, in his Superman voice. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm excited about our date. Because he just can't tell her.
You don't want to lay that on her. Then we get to see this fucking amazing layer again. And here's the pool. There's even a very creepy fucking tunnel because it is like some kind of, I don't know, it's the ruins of a city from long ago. I guess it's a subway station or something. I don't know what this thing is, but it's got tunnels. You could die in here, but you could take a dip. There's no way that water's warm. It's amazing looking.
Some fucking Universal Studios, since you're the theme park that's doing stuff, not Disney, license this and make a water attraction out of it, please.
Well, this needs to be at a hotel. This needs to be the theme of a hotel. The fucking the Daily Planet, and with the planet on top of the fucking high rise of the hotel, and this is where the recreation happens.
Perfect. What a great idea, Lacey.
Thank you.
So, Lex is swimming in his pool and he's like, what do y'all think about Superman or whatever? And I think he's handsome. And Otis is like, maybe Superman is just passing through on his way somewhere else. Later, they're reading Lois's interview with Superman. And from this, Lex Luthor is able to determine, he's like, well, Krypton exploded in 1948. Let me do the math. Okay, yes, there will be space debris and it can be used as a weapon against Superman.
Sure.
And look at this. A meteorite has just landed in Addis Ababa, which is in Ethiopia, I believe. And let's go get it.
Good on them for not making any racially inappropriate jokes.
I know.
Were they cut out?
No, the closest thing is like they're looking at the picture of the person from Ethiopia and she's like, I wonder what they're wearing over in Addis Ababa. Probably, and then whatever she sees in the picture. And it's like, I don't think that's a racist joke.
Yeah, you just look at it.
But maybe it just sounds like that to like the uncles who are watching, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, she called it out like she's seen it.
So they need to steal some missiles. So Miss Tessmacher poses as a passed out blonde on the side of the road.
With her legs sprawled open, tits out. Like, there's 3 rapey kisses in this entire... or 3 kisses to a person who is knocked out. Let's just say that. I won't say rapey.
Her being passed out and sexy makes all the army guys who are escorting a nuclear bomb. I don't know if it's a nuclear missile. It's just a missile. It's an ICBM. It's a big deal. But they pull over. They're like, hey, a lady. And the movie makes the army look stupid as hell.
Yeah,
and that is a just diametrically opposed way that the military is portrayed in movies today. In fact, the Department of Defense literally works with many movie studios, notably Marvel, and gets script approval in exchange for Marvel getting to use their like equipment and stuff to film it. It's the kind of thing that when you hear about it happening in China or North Korea, you're like, that's just government propaganda. Yeah. But when it happens here, that's just what we do.
We need the stuff.
But it's also interesting because like you could show people in the military looking dumb because this is still a period of time where the draft was already gone by this point, but it's in people's memory. Like I could be in the army. My dumbass son could be in the army. My friend could be in the army. Now the army, the military is like a totally separate institution from anything that we would touch with our actual lives. So it feels like we can't comment on it. We can't make fun of it. We can't criticize it. But back then you could think I could be in the army. Therefore I can make fun of the army. And that's the thing that would change over time. Mm-hmm. Their plan worked, except Otis fucked it up. So he like miscalibrated the missile. So they change plans. They take an 18-wheeler truck and they just get it in the way of the army. And the army's like, hey, get that truck out of here. And Gene Hackman gets out of the truck and he's like, heck of a day, isn't it?
And which one of us should back up? I don't know. He's just both of us be difficult either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While they're trying to solve this problem, Miss Tessmacher sneaks in and recalibrates the missiles.
Tessmacher.
This Tessmacher. Jimmy and Lois go out west. Jimmy to photograph a dam. Lois to talk to a Native American man who has sold lots of tracts of land to a mysterious billionaire. Don't know why.
This is all very pat. This is really convenient timing for everything.
Well, Clark is back at the office and then he hears the dog pitch message, like a high frequency message from Lex Luthor. Listen up, Superman. If you don't come to my place.
Guy is smart.
If you don't come to my place, I'll unleash a chemical gas, killing all of Metropolis. So he flies down to Lex's lair.
Just jumps right out the casually jumps out the window where people aren't looking, and his Superman costume just is there now. It just goes wipe.
He arrives at the lair, like busts open the door. Gene Hackman's like, "Come in, the door's open." And then my attorney will be in touch about the door. So then he describes his real estate plan, which I think we've explained already, right?
It's fucking good. But the names are fun. Because then he's like, he sees something that's like Sharpied in on his little plans, and it says Otisburg.
Yeah, we'll have Lex Springs, Lexington, Lutherville, Otisburg.
Otisburg?
Oh, so Mr. Luthor, Miss Tessmacher got her own place.
Already written on this.
Otisburg.
Tessmacher Farms.
And yeah, it's written. Oh, and the S is backwards because he's an idiot. So Ned Beatty gets down and erases what he's written.
Fine. I mean, it's just a little piece of land. It's in the middle. It's big.
Yeah, it is a great villain plan. Maybe the best that there's ever been in a movie.
They're going to use a missile to explode along the San Andreas fault line, thereby breaking California in half. All of the highest and most expensive real estate will go into the ocean, and he's bought up everything from that fault backwards. So he becomes the new California.
Honestly, does it sound that far-fetched?
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Also, I got another missile. It's heading for Hackensack, New Jersey.
We don't know why.
Luthor, you madman.
My mother lives in Hackensack.
The only way you can stop me is with my detonator switch. And he's like, where's the detonator switch, Luthor? And he starts looking around, and there's a lead box. And Gene Hackman's like, no, don't look in my lead box. And he's like, you thought you could trick me by hiding it in lead, but no, inside a kryptonite necklace. And Christopher Reeve plays this really well. He is very afraid of this kryptonite.
Yeah.
He's like a vampire.
And it slowly depletes him. It's not, I mean, it's immediate, but it's, but Lex Luthor knows what he has to do is put him in water, because all it does is like keep him low to the ground and weak. Yeah. You got to put him in the...
So this is just all in the acting. This is just, hey, act like this necklace prop we're putting on you is draining your life force. Okay. And we believe it. And they just throw Superman into the pool. And Miss Tessmacher goes up to Lex and says, Lex, my mom lives in Hackensack. And Gene Hackman, in the finest moment of film acting in the history of cinema, looks down at his watch, looks at her, and just shakes his head no. That's it. No. That is, I made a video where I explained why he's my favorite actor. I would just show that scene. It is so funny.
My mom lives in Hackensack. She don't live. She just don't.
Because he doesn't say that. You just hear.
But he's like, you're wrong.
So, but yeah, this turns her against Lex, and she jumps into the water to save Superman. But before she pulls off the necklace, she's like, promise you'll save my mom. Oh, and she kisses him while he's still passed out. And she takes the thing off, and he's like, why did you kiss me? Why'd you kiss me first before you took off the thing? And she's like, I didn't think you'd let me later.
And he's like, that's cute and rapey. And then he caresses her cheek.
Well,
What?
No, it's just, she's a hot lady. He's Superman. We're all friends here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. He does. He goes and gets the New Jersey missile. But
he makes him late to the Lois Lane situation.
The other one hits California, which triggers the San Andreas fault.
And it kind of is his San Andreas fault.
It really is. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so
he's a man of his word. That's why I'm saying he is a Boy Scout. He cannot lie. So he did have to go to New Jersey first.
Right. And I love that the movie is so fleet of foot that it's not even explaining that. What is it like? If he makes a promise, his literally...
We can't lie.
His atoms won't allow him to break his promise. It's just, don't worry about that. He just doesn't lie.
He just needs, he's got with a thing. That's his thing.
Exactly. He doesn't lie. So don't worry about it. These effects look great. The Golden Gate Bridge snapping, it's fucking great.
I kept saying, like, this looks like such an expensive movie. Like, there's so many shots.
Yeah, very expensive and very profitable, and yet still only the number 2 movie of the year behind. It's a movie we've covered on this podcast before. Can you guess what it is?
Time of the year?
1978.
Don't know why I asked. Close Encounters?
No.
Shoot.
Good guess. A movie that you wouldn't think would be. It's not like a sci-fi blockbuster. It's a musical.
fucking musical. Grease?
Grease, yes.
That's 1978?
Yeah.
Huh. It was a sensation. Sorry, Superman, you had no shot.
And Superman literally goes into the earth and fixes the fault himself. And he saves a train. He saves the Golden Gate Bridge. But there's a dam that Jimmy Olsen is near. It bursts. It's going to destroy this town. Superman just throws some rocks down.
I had no idea that was Jimmy Olsen. Like, I just thought that was some kid. I was like, why do they keep showing this fucking kid? Who gives a shit? Totally.
So when he reunites with Lois, Lacey was like,
he was okay.
But he can't get to Lois in time. She is crushed to death in her car.
It is fucked up.
It is harrowing.
Goes on
yes.
and on. And the car's just stuck in one position. She just can't get through because it's slowly crushing the car. And she's not crushed to death. She doesn't fall in a fucking pit. She's buried alive, and we watch it happen. It is fucked up. She's dirty, and like he gets there pretty soon after, and it's like, you have lungs of fucking dynamite and steel or whatever. Blow into. What are you doing?
He doesn't know that he can do that.
I don't. Yeah, I'm like, what?
Well, that's why he's so upset, and he screams.
And he's very convinced he's good. He did a good acting there.
Takes off, goes into space. He sees his dad in the clouds being like, jor-el or Kal-El, I told you, don't interfere. But then that gets drowned out with Paul. My son,
we don't know what it was.
We were put on this earth for a reason. And so he decides, that's right.
Date someone named Lois Wayne.
I'll reverse the earth's rotation.
But I'll fix it before, like, I will make it rotate the wrong way. But we can't just always have time going backwards. So I will go back the other way for a moment just to get the spinning right, just in time to go right back.
That's why it's great.
It is. He thought of it all.
Does it make sense at all? No, of course not. In fact, even if you accept that he can turn back time, does he stop the nuke? What?
We don't know.
Because Lois is like, hey, Superman, I just saw like a dam burst and a rocket go off and an earthquake. And
it's like, so you saved one lady in Hackensack, and then Lois,
did he condemn all those children to death?
Also, you spinned it back a lot. Did you even do the Hackensack thing?
No, didn't even do that. Yeah. And also doesn't save her. Right? I mean, she's fine, but she's out of gas, and she's like, "You're never around when I need you, Superman." And he's like, "Gosh, Lois, I'm real sorry, but hey, I got a job to do." And then Jimmy Olsen shows up, and he's like, "Superman, you abandoned me to
no gas, no wheels, whatever."
There's snakes.
Like, I'm doing it again. Bye.
He takes off. Jimmy Olsen's like, gee whiz, it's too bad Clark wasn't here to see this. You know, our brand new friend who we met 2 days ago. And she's like, yeah, Clark's never around when Superman. What? Hey, you don't think. No, Lois Lane, that's the stupidest idea. Superman shows up at a prison, at a maximum security prison with Lex and Otis in tow.
This'll do.
And he says, Mr. Warden, these men will be safe here until they get a fair trial.
We need we can't not do the justice system.
That's why he is great, because he points out they need a fair trial.
And if he ever answered the phone, he'd say hello and goodbye, because he never fucking leaves without saying goodbye to anyone. Mm-hmm. Even us.
Gene Hackman takes off his wig. He's wearing a bald wig and a bald cap.
He's not wearing a bald cap.
He is. This is a bald cap.
He's not wearing a bald cap.
I promise you this is a bald cap.
You can see his hair. You can see that he shaved his head.
He did not shave his head for this role. This was a famous thing. He did not. He refused to shave his head for this.
You son of a bitch.
I'm Lex Luthor, criminal mastermind. And as he's talking, Otis is being his hype man and just starts talking over him. And then they get mad at each other. Great. This warden comes out and he's like, Superman, the country is safe. Thanks to you. And he's like, don't thank me. We're on the same team. Thank you.
And then that warden goes and abuses the shit out of a couple of black men in his custody. And he's like, we all are on the same team.
The last line of the movie is Superman thanking a maximum security prison warden.
Right.
So like
me and you, same team.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's supposed to be satire. Like Superman's thanking a prison warden.
I thought he was the commish. I thought we were doing a Batman.
And then Superman flies into space and spikes the camera. Hey guys.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you're just saying hi to a planet. We don't know.
Planet. My planet.
Hey planet.
And
all right.
That's the movie. That's Superman. What a picture.
Wow, what a thing.
Yeah, it's shaggy. There's some momentum issues.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I also feel it's the annoying thing to say. If you love a movie, you accept those things as part of the charm. The shagginess is part of the charm.
It's not. It's what we've learned with this podcast. It's not annoying to say. You get to be the one that's saying it this time. And usually it's me. Well, so you will accept my star rating, and I'll accept your bullshit star rating.
Mm-hmm. Well, just in you can view something as an asset rather than a detriment.
You could do that with
if it's in service. Yes, of course. This is no science. I give this 5 stars. It is
Jesus
one of my favorite.
Christ.
Is probably behind only Spider-Man 2 as my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Wow.
Also, remember, it's inventing the genre. It's inventing all the rules. But Christopher Reeve, incredible. Gene Hackman, incredible. Margot Kidder, incredible. And Richard Donner directs the hell out of this movie.
Well, shoot. Now I feel weird about my star rating.
That's okay.
I was going to do 3.5.
Yeah, that's fine. That is how much you enjoyed the movie. I would have guessed anything. Lacey's going to give this a 3.5. Because you really liked the...
Do you see through my purse?
I knew you were going to like the newspaper parts and the Lois and Clark stuff and basically anything with Lois and Christopher Reeve and not care about the sci-fi and not care about the production values and stuff.
No, I like the production parts. I just felt like certain scenes went on way too long, but because they were doing something cool for the time, I get that. I honestly was a little more affected by the scary parts than I wanted to be with the tone of this movie. It felt misplaced. And I did not like the woman henchman, but that's okay.
Really? Miss Tessmacher?
It all felt too kind of just kind of slapped together. I understood the other guy. She just was like a bridge too far for me, but I'm sure I just need to see the movie a couple more times. So 3.5 it gets.
Cool. All right. Yay. Well, next up on the podcast, I don't know why this slide is telling us Heartbreakers is next. That was last.
True.
Next week on the program, we will be welcoming the Red Rose Film Club to talk about one of Lacey's favorite movies, American Psycho. A movie way before we started this podcast. Lacey's like, I got to show you American Psycho, but I don't remember it at all. I've only seen it the one time.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, yay!
I remember he does something with an axe. That's it.
No,
that might just be the poster.
Yeah, he does, but the chainsaw's the better part.
So yeah, Hal and Craig from the Red Rose Film Club will be joining us on April 11th for episode 156 or 7. I don't know. Please check out our Patreon, Load-Bearing Beams Collector's Edition, for 2 bonus episodes a month, and then tell a friend about that and about the main feed, and subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow me on Letterboxd at MattStokes9, and Lacey on Letterboxd at Load-Bearing Lacey, and my band Rural Route 9 does the music for Load-Bearing Beams, including the song you're hearing right now. Our album is The Joy of Averages. It's available wherever you get your music. Thank you so much.
I was quiet the whole time. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.
3, 4. Everybody, love Mary Beans, love Mary.